everyone. Welcome and welcome back to another episode of Around the World with Ashley. Today's episode is part 2 of my Italy trip. So you are finally going to see the rest of what happened in Rome. So it is Monday and it is also Epiphany Day. What is Epiphany Day? I have the same question. It is apparently a holiday in Rome that celebrates the arrival of the 3 magi to Jesus. And so people were off work, the kids were out of school, they're in the streets, fire trucks were going down, giving out candy. It was a really cool sight to see, and that's how we started off our real first day of the program in Rome. So I'm gonna show you the cultural tour that we did, and then I'll come back and chat to you guys about it. We did so much walking this day, like not even kidding. And as we were walking around, we're leaving the different sites, we are finally headed to lunch. And it was at this cute little restaurant. It was in the cut though, I'm not gonna lie. But it was nice, we had good food. We're getting this pasta, it was really good. It was like a carbonara. All right, now pause. Why doesn't Tim have food? That was the question everybody was asking at the table. We literally almost like, we low-key caused the scene. And not like even intentionally, it was just kind of like, where is their food? You know, like everybody else has gotten their food. We think that they mixed 2 of the people up at the table and they were like, no, they already got their food. And we were like, no, they definitely didn't. Like, we're all sitting here and they still do not have a plate in front of them. So where is it? Eventually they got it. It was just kind of this thing. But honestly, I say all that to say, always make sure you got somebody in your corner, because not once did my friend open their mouth to say that they didn't have their food. Like, ever. Every single person at that table, like 6 of us, were all like, Excuse me. So make sure you have people when you travel, even in the US, at home, wherever you are. Make sure you have people that advocate for you, speak for you, have your back, get your food on the table, all the above. So as we were walking back to the bus, as you can imagine, the streets are really, really tight. So there's really not a lot of places that the bus can go. We walked from like one side of the city to another side of the city, and that's where they met us. But on the way back there, we were walking past all these different buildings, and our tour guide pointed out how you could see some of the columns and things like that on like kind of built into the new build. And I say new, it's not like new, but it's newer than like the ancient architecture. But you can still see how they tried to preserve the original structure. So next we got back to the bus, we went to the Coliseum, and you know, it's definitely one of those places that people want to see. It's a tourist spot. The vibes are kind of weird though. And I mean like understandably so, because a lot of people were killed there just kind of for the hell of it, like for people's entertainment. So not one of my personal favorites. Like, you know, even taking pictures in there, it was like I feel weird smiling in this photo. Like if you were actually like listening for real, like we did like a guided tour. So we have like the headsets in, we're listening to our person talk. And it was just kind of like, I don't know. It was a little unsettling. Like I wasn't even really trying to smile in photos. I didn't even know if I wanted to take photos for real. I finally was like, what do I do? Like if I'm looking at the camera, smiling and pointing, that feels weird. Standing there and just staring also feels weird. So I finally settled on this angle where I was basically had my back turned to the camera and then just like 0.5 lens so you can see the Coliseum. I was like, that way I don't have to do any expression. Like you just kind of see me, you see the Coliseum. But it was like, I don't know. It was weird. It was, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't go back. Like if you are in Rome and you want to see like the history, I would definitely suggest doing a guided tour there just so you kind of understand. And it's not just like I took pictures of the Coliseum, blah, blah, blah. Like I felt like we actually learned about it, and that's what made me be like, oh, I don't really want to smile. right, now some hours have passed. We're about to get ready to go to dinner. And you know we're about to take an Uber Black, an Uber van. When in Rome, you know you gotta do it. I really liked how in Italy, it was like almost exclusively Uber Blacks or Uber vans. Like we were traveling with such a large group to go to dinner and stuff most times that the Uber van was perfect. They weren't insanely expensive. And then when it was a little bit smaller group of us, you get that Uber Black, you start to feel fancy.
My toast for 2025, and I want to pass it along to you to expanding our network and our network.
Cheers. But there was a speakeasy that one of my friends found, and she really wanted to go to it. So we all walked over there. We kind of walked through some areas that looked a little sketch, I'm not gonna lie, but it was a big old group. So we were like, all right, we're good. We get to the speakeasy and they required like all of this information, like personal information to register you. I guess it's just kind of like compliance, like governance, whatever their laws are. But like the form was asking for your passport number, which granted you could have put anything in, but we still were just kind of like, I don't like that. So the majority of the group chose not to do the membership. Like 2 people went in, but honestly, like it was so early on in the night that I think it was pretty dead in there. Like it was only just the 2 of them. If they had gone back like way later, it probably would have been much better. But the rest of us, we just kind of started exploring. We walked back near that area where the pizza place was that we had gone to, and we stumbled upon the most random little bar. So it looked like a little bookstore, like a library, but you immediately know that it's not because of the sign out front. It was like a chocolate shots place. So they had all of these really absurd names of the chocolate shots and like what you could get in them. And then the whole experience was just wild. So we walked in, we're standing, we decide we're gonna get them. And we see this group of girls in front of us. And we're like, oh, interesting. And like they do their shots. And we were all like, oh my God.
Then you raise it. You look with desired girls if you want to, or you fake as usual. Then you go back and put all in your mouth from the bottom of the cup. Okay?
Okay.
No biting, please. Thanks. No, that's another movie. No, you put all in your mouth and then you can do whatever you want. No biting.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we ready?
We're ready. Okay. All in.
Salute!
Salute!
Breathe with the nose.
Breathe through the nose.
When you have the mouth full, it's better.
Swallow it, Danny. Swallow it.
All right, so we left the little chocolate shots place, and anybody want to guess where we ended up? An Irish pub. Yeah, it was interesting. You could definitely tell that we crashed like a local bar. Like we went to go meet up with some other people that we knew who were already there, and like I think they had been like a night or 2 before and they liked it. But it was interesting. Like we just kind of walked in, definitely were like, yeah, like we saw regulars walking in and they were kind of looking like, what are all these people doing in here? And one of my friends was like, I found this other bar, like lounge type place that I want to go to. I'm going to go. And so some of us were like, yeah, that sounds like the move. We're going to go there. It was so cute. Like, it was this place, I think it's called Emerald's Independent Bar. If you are ever in Rome, please go check it out. And we just had such a blast there. The vibes were so nice. It was so laid back. The drinks were great. Our server, Antonella, she was the greatest. And so yeah, I really liked Emerald's Independent Bar. And if I go back to Rome, I will definitely be back there. It was a cute little vibe. I definitely would suggest it to anybody who is planning on going. So it's Tuesday, and Tuesday is all about a company visit that we did to a winery. It was probably like an hour and a half outside of Rome, and we had a really, really good time there. They made so many wines. I learned a little bit about one of their wines in particular, where they picked the grapes at night. And so they actually changed the color of their label to reflect them picking the grapes at night. And it was something about it adding to the flavor of the wine. We tried a bunch of different wines. They fed us so much food. I mean, like round after round after round. And that was all delicious. Like, I know what I said earlier about Rome and the food being this place was outside of Rome, granted, but that food was good. And it kept coming. And it was delicious. And this very last wine was like a dessert wine. I'm very much a sweet wine girly. I'm a Moscato, you know, maybe that's a little childish, but I have a sweet tooth in general, and so that definitely transfers over to drinks and wine and all that great stuff. But we ordered like a case of wine. Everybody got a few bottles, and I can't wait for it to get here. It's not here just yet, but it was so, so, so good. Once we got back from the winery that night, we ended up going shopping. I went to like Uniqlo, Zara, H&M, all kinds of places, got clothes that I didn't need and a bag that didn't have space, but we somehow made it work. Now, I promise, once we leave Rome, I'm not going to talk about McDonald's again. Like, I'm for real. We ended up going to McDonald's for dinner, and it was just kind of like, again, the easier option. Some of my friends, they had heard us talking about how fancy the McDonald's was in the McCafe all week, and they were like, all right, well, we got to go before we leave. And if I thought the McDonald's near the Piazza del Popolo was fancy, I had something else coming, because the McDonald's near the Spanish Steps was absolutely gorgeous. They had a grand staircase. They had statues. We had a good little meal. We had a good little kiki. And then we had to go back to the hotel and pack it up so that we could head to Florence. All right, y'all. That is all for today's episode of Around the World with Ashley. I hope you enjoyed, and I can't wait to show you more in the next video where we finally explore Florence. See you next time.